we're continuing a speech which was given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the end of 1991, just like now. At the end of 1991, now we're like in the end of what is 1984. And I mean, and that 2000, I'm sorry, 2024. 2024, we're in. So it's like the end, even though the Hebrew date is, the end is 5, but the not Jewish date is 4. Okay, so it was Tafshin Nun Beit, and the Rebbe was speaking shortly thereafter. The Rebbe had a stroke, which rendered him unable to speak. So the Rebbe here is giving us the grand finale of everything that Chabad has been saying since its inception, like 250 years ago, and that is Moshiach. And the whole idea of Moshiach is that the whole world will announce the Creator. Will announce the Creator. Everything in the world will announce the Creator. Everything will announce that it's being created by God. Nothing is here by accident. God is creating everything. We have little or no conception of what that means right now. But that's the truth. Even right now, God is creating everything. And He's creating everything for a purpose. Okay, so even every rock, I'm sorry if there's these little interruptions, but the fact is that the Zoom thing cuts off every 10, 15 minutes for about a minute. So you don't see the cutoff, but I do. So the continuation is a little bit sort of, choppy, but it's not the end of the world. Here we go. So the whole essence of what it means, Mashiach, is that godliness will be revealed everywhere in the world. Something like it was with Adam. When Adam was created, something like it was in the Holy Temple. You felt that there was a creator, and even deeper, you felt there was a purpose for creation, and even deeper, you felt that we have to fulfill this purpose of the creation, that we have responsibility. We're partners with God, and even deeper, that God is empowering us to do this, and even deeper than that, that God reacts to what we do. And everything, every detail, every rock, every tree, this is part of this big plan, is calling out to us and saying that God is creating me, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So God's creating you also, Jew. Do what you're supposed to do. Everything. This purpose of and what are we supposed to do? Torah and the commandments. This is the job. This is the result of our doing Torah and commandments now. All to bring about a chibur, joining. 1 second, I want to bring to join spiritual and physical. In other words, to see the soul of everything, to make the world healthy, simply. To reveal the potential of everything. And this was strengthened even more when Chassidut was revealed by the Baal Shem Tov, and especially by the first Rebbe of Chabad. The whole idea of teachings of Chassidut is not like anything else in the Torah. You're talking about God and aspects of God and how God is revealed in the world and how God is partners with us. It's talking about God. Every single page, every single word is talking about God, some aspect of God. You don't find that anywhere else. All right. Especially when Torah to Chassidut was revealed. Chassidut is revealed, there's a joining of the concealed aspect of God with the concealed aspect of the Jewish people, arouses this, so to speak, the revealed part of God is the world, right? What about the reason for the world? That's what Chassidut reveals. And that also the same thing with the Jews. Jews are people like everybody else, right? It says, but the inside of the Jews is totally different. And that's what the Chassidut does. The Chassidut also gives the power to transform the physical world, that it should be revealed godliness in the world. When there's revealed the hidden part of the Jews, it's revealed that the hidden part of the Jews wants to reveal God in the world. And that's what Chassidut does. It shows us how to do it and that it's possible to be done. It's possible to be done, and how to do it. And especially by means of the revelation of Torah's Chassidus Chabad. There's Chassidut as the Baal Shem Tov explained it in a general way, but Chabad explains explanations, deep, long explanations of every detail, that this reveals the true essence of what the Torah is, that it brings godliness into understanding of a human being, that every human being can actually understand some aspect of God. Excuse me. In a way that that we're actually nourished by this. It actually excites us, enlivens us. That could be understood in human understanding. Until even our natural human personality realizes and feels and is inspired by the fact that we're Jews and that we're servants of God, we're sons of God, we're the wife of God, we're the soldiers of God. There's also and even more that it can be understood in the intellect of even non-Jews. That's Esav. Like it's known, like it says, your wellspring should be spread outward. What does it mean? That the teachings of Chassidut should be spread outward to the furthest places, even to the non-Jews. They bow down to people, they bow down to statues. How are you going to convince a person like that God is infinite and God's infinite cares about you? Here he's got a little picture of God in his house, a little person, and he worships that. How are you going to tell him to not worship this anymore? If I don't do that, I'm going to burn in hell. I'm going to go. How are you going to convince a person? So it says very simple. The teachings of Chassidut explain how God is infinitely close to everyone. And he's at that same God is infinitely distant from everyone. And it's infinitely, how do you say, the approachable. God is accessible to every human being, because that explains the oneness of God. Even the outside world will be a vessel. That will be united with God. We can say, therefore, the main revelation of Torah to Chassidut was in this month of Kislev that we're in now. Like it's known that Kislev is the third month of the winter months. This corresponds to the third month of the summer months, Sivan. In the third month of the summer months, that's when we receive the Torah on Mount Sinai, the revealed Torah. That's the number of the third month. Number 3 is connected to the giving of the Torah, the month of Sivan. That's when we got this is the time when God gave the revealed Torah. The month of Kislev, this is in the winter months. What's winter? There's darkness. This is the time of the revelation of the inside of the Torah, the secrets of the Torah, the purpose of the Torah. The Chodesh, to fix the physical world. The Chodesh is in this month. There are many days which are special in the days of Chassidut. There's Yud Tet Kislev. That's when the first Rebbe of Chabad got out of prison. He was the one that founded Chassidut Chabad with the book the Tanya. And also, this was also the birthday, the passing away, of the Maggid of Mezrich. This is the first day of, this is called the Rosh Hashanah of Chassidut. This is called the birth of Chassidut. And birthday of Chassidut. Like it's known, Yud Tet Kislev, that was after Peterburg. Hitchil Ikar Inyan Shal Yafutzu Ma'anetecha Chutza. The Rebbe wrote the Tanya a couple of years before he was put into prison by his enemies. The Rebbe had enemies, religious Jews, very serious religious Jews, genuine Jews, and they genuinely thought that these ideas of Chassidut were too revolutionary, that in fact that they weren't Jewish. Nobody ever heard these ideas being spread out into the street. They thought this is not Judaism, it's too different. So they gave him, he thought they was endangering Judaism. So they forged papers, they gave it over to the Tsar, and trying to convince the Tsar that this Rebbe of Chabad is trying to make a revolution. So they put the Rebbe into prison, and the punishment of death was hanging over his head, treason. And the Rebbe convinced them all that he was really a holy person, and that his messages were very positive. And they let him go on Yud Tet Kislev. This is because nobody knew what was happening with him. And the Rebbe understood that it wasn't just being freed from the hands of the Russian government. It was being freed from the hands of all the doubters, from all of the negative forces in the world. And then he really started teaching Chassidut in a much greater way. That's where all these books, Yikuti Torah, that we're learning every day. So that's happened on Yud Tes Kislev, the birth of Chassidut. And like we said, Chassidut comes to save the whole entire world, to make the whole entire world aware and to be partners with the essence of God. That's Yud Tes Kislev. That's when it began. Tet Kislev, this is the day of the birth of the day of the birth and the day of the passing away of the second Rebbe of Chabad. This is a few years later. The Admor Emsai, the second Rebbe of Chabad, that's Yud Kislev. That's Yud Tet Kislev. The date after that, Yud Kislev was when the second Rebbe, he got out of prison. He was put into prison on somewhat the same charges. It's a little bit different, but it was basically the same thing. It was a test of Chassidut. And of course, then there's holiday of Chanukah. The Chanukah is till the end of the month of Kislev, is a special connection with the inside of the Torah, because the miracle of Chanukah, this was a miracle of oil. And the oil of the Torah, this is what's called the secrets of the secrets. The secrets of the Torah, that's the wine of the Torah, and the secrets of the secrets, and there's the pure godliness in the Torah, that's oil, and that's what happened on Chanukah. There are many other reasons also why Chanukah is compared to Chassidut, the miracle of Chassidut, because Chanukah wasn't such the exile that was in Chanukah wasn't so much physical as it was spiritual. The Greeks were not barbarians like the Romans. The Greeks were very, they say, that's the word for it, intellectual, but there was a better word for it. They were very concerned with how can some of those words just jump from my mind? With culture. They were cultured people. They were very interested in culture. Music, we don't have much music, but they had art and they had poetry and they had plays and they had philosophy, the great philosophers from Greek philosophers that were there. And they really thought, and justly so, that their culture would enable them to rule over the whole world. The whole world wanted culture, and the whole world would embrace Greek culture. And the Jews also did. The Jews also embraced Greek culture. And they wanted nothing. The Greeks were the winners. What are you going to be a loser for? Hold on to the Torah. There was no, and just a handful of Jews, they fought the spiritual battle. The Greeks did not destroy the temple. The Romans did that a couple hundred years afterwards. The Greeks just defiled the temple. They just wanted the temple to go according to what they wanted. And there were a few maniacs called the Hashmonaim, and they fought a big battle, the Maccabees, and they fought a battle, and because of that battle, the rest of the Jews joined them, and whatever, and they won. But the battle was mainly a spiritual one. It was mainly, what is God? Is God me, or is God the creator of me? That's the battle. And the Greeks said, God is me, you're God. Right? You got a lot of other little gods that'll help you, etc. So basically, that was also, the holiday of Hanukkah was also a Hasidic holiday, and it was a spiritual holiday. It was a holiday of how much are you really devoted to God? And where is God? Right? Where is God? And the Maccabees said God is everywhere, and we're serving God, and there's no, right? It doesn't make any difference whether we lose, whether we win, who's ruling the world, makes no difference to us. We're connected to the creator of the world. That was Hanukkah. That's the oil. But over in such a way that that was revealed the secrets of the secrets. The Rebbe has a beautiful mimer. I think we learned it one year about how Hanukkah expresses the whole essence of what Moshiach is, because it says you have an option on Hanukkah to put the lights of Hanukkah outside in the public domain, lighting up the public domain. It says, why put it outside? Live it inside and it'll light up the public domain spiritually. It says, no, the public domain itself will light up. The world itself. Okay, the explanation is the connection between Kislev, the month of Kislev, and the inside of the Torah is the difference between the month of Kislev, the third month of the winter, and Sivan, which is the third month of the summer, is the months of the winter. They are days of rain in Israel. In those days we pray, God, please return the wind that brings down rain. Rain is mainly connected to our service. Where does rain come from? Rain comes from heaven, right? Wrong. Rain does not come from heaven. Rain comes through heaven. But really, where does rain come from? It comes from below. It comes from us. Commotion like it says in the beginning of the Torah, it says that there was no rain in the world. Why? Adam Ayin, because there was no person to work on the ground. And as soon as man started working on the ground, then he realized that the ground had to be irrigated, and he prayed to God for rain. Then it says, Eid Yalemi, in order, then evaporation went up from the earth, and Hishkat Kol Panei Adama, and it came down as rain, which is not the case. So the months of the summer. In Israel, the month of the summer, there is no rain. They come after the rain. This is attached mainly with tal, dew, that it comes down automatically. So specifically by means of rain, which rain comes from the work of us below. Rain, that's geshamim. The whole word for rain is geshem, means physical. Gashmiut, itgashem. This is stressed the completion, the goal of the joining together of the upper worlds and the lower worlds. Where does rain come from? It comes from heaven, right? It says no. Rain comes from our work from below. And then there's evaporation, and then it comes from heaven. It says there has to be evaporation, a cloud coming up from the earth. From the earth comes up from below to above, a thing which indicates that this is attached to the world. Remember, we talked about that last week. And this inundates, it irrigates the whole world. Milamai lamata, from above to below. So rain comes down from clouds which are in heaven, from above, but really they come down in a way that, first of all, there had to be evaporation from the ground, and it comes afterwards to the ground. It's called a gashmit. It says that the geshem is rain, but the word geshem implies gashmit, physicality. It inundates, it irrigates the face of the earth. It says Pnei Adama. The word Pnei means the face, but the word Pnei means also the inside of the earth, of the world. In other words, our work from here in this physical world, let's talk about the spiritual implications of this. Our work from the spiritual world, our raising up of our soul to its source, this brings down a blessing of God from above, rain, that brings blessing to the whole world. The whole entire world then is permeated with spirituality of our work that we work from below. According to the nature, that's the nature of water. That water is anything that touches it also becomes wet itself. It becomes wet itself. And this expresses the whole novelty of the month of Kislev. It says the water, it says Ein Mayim Elo Torah. The Torah is compared to water. And this is the idea of the revelation of Torah of Chassidut in the month of Kislev. Kislev is the rainy months. Sheseichel Adam, mainly that a human intelligence, that's like the ground. Umetzius Gashmis, the physicality of the world, should be permeated with godliness. Rainy months. What, like the Rambam in the laws of mikvah, when he says that the whole world will be suffused, is that word? Be filled with the water of awareness, pure awareness of God. Mea data tahor, pure awareness of God. Like it says, you should know the God of your fathers. Da et Elokei avicha. It's a commandment. We have to know God as much as possible. Shema Yisrael, listen. The word Shema means understand. Understand, good Jews, that God is our God. God is one. Until the one that kula mashke, until the whole thing becomes permeated with godliness, the whole world becomes so what do you say? The oneness, one and wet with godliness, ruchnius, that the whole world will be filled with the awareness of God, like water covers the ocean. It's the prophecy of Isaiah. What is it? 138. Isaiah, right? In Yud Aleph. That's the whole idea of Moshiach, that everyone should see and feel the Creator and the purpose of the Creator in every detail of the world. Like it will be revealed. That's the whole idea of the future redemption. Yafutsu minus, and that's going to come only by means of Chassidut. And we can add on that this is also hinted at in the word Kislev. The letters Kislev is the covering over of Lamed Vav. We talked about this last week, if you remember. The Hadargos Elokus, all the levels of godliness which are now revealed, which are now concealed, case, which they're now concealed, covered over, case means covered. Mechusa mitzad atzmo, they're covered even in their essence. The biyoto misatim, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, these are the hidden aspects of God, will be revealed in lo. The word lo means ela, to be revealed. These, to point to something. These, you can see it. Ela. Hamor, which indicates on a complete revelation. The midas adam, which is divided into 6 times 6. That's the emotions of ours. We have 6 emotions. Each one is compared to 6. The whole purpose of emotions is to come out. And that's lo. Lamed vav is 36. That the case, that all which is concealed of godliness will be lo, it will be revealed. Shleimus Agili, the revelation of God's emotions in the world 6 times 6. An interesting thing, the Rebbe, if you remember last week, he said that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he's the Moshiach, and he is evaporated now. We don't see him, and he's going to, like rain, this is like rain, and he's going to come down and be revealed again. That's the Moshiach. This is supported a lot of times by, first of all, by Moses. Moses went up on Mount Sinai, and he became like spiritualized over there. He didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't drink for 40 days. He did that 3 times, right? Didn't eat, didn't drink. So he became spiritualized, and then he came back to the physical world. The Arizal says it's going to be the same thing with Moshiach. The Moshiach is going to be here, and he's going to be concealed, he'll be spiritualized, and then it'll be revealed again. The end of Rashi, it says near the end of the book of the song of Daniel, near the book end of Daniel, it says Mashiach is going to be concealed for, 35 years, 45 years, I have to look and see, and it'll be revealed. But nevertheless, that's the idea that the Mashiach is going to be like rain. Therefore, we pray for Mashiach in the second blessing. We talk about maybe Goel Livnei B'neiim. We pray that the Mashiach should come and raise the dead, and etc. And that's the whole idea of rain. Rain comes from below. It's here physically, and then it goes up and becomes spiritualized, and then it comes back down in order to really irrigate the whole world. And that says the Rebbe is like the Moshiach. It's going to be the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. We can apply it to the Rebbe's. Begilei Torah Chassidus, so that's the idea of revelation of the Torah of Chassidut in the month of Kislev itself. This is the joining of the physical and the spiritual, especially by means of the second Rebbe of Chabad, Admor Emsa'i. It's called the Mittler Rebbe, the middle Rebbe. It's known that the revelation of the Torah to Chassidut was in a way very orderly. B'kol echad mirabbis, each one of the Rebbes of Chabad revealed his certain aspect of Chassidut in the world. He revealed a new aspect of intellect. Chabad is intellect. Even though that who can really distinguish between the different Rebbes of Chabad? They were pure godliness, all of them. But our rabbis themselves, they made these distinctions. The first Rebbe, he was like Chochmah. That's Torah Chassidut. He was like the first spark of this. This is the revelation of the essence of what Chassidut are, the whole basic principles of Chassidut. The second Rebbe of Chabad, he's like the level of Bina. Bina, he took this little point of what Chassidut is. The world is being enlivened all the time, and that God reacts to what we do, and that every Jew has to do tshuva, and even the highest Jew has to do tshuva, and the lowest Jew, he can jump up to be a tzaddik in a moment. Tshuva lifts a person. All these little ideas, basic sparks of wisdom of the first Rebbe, the second Rebbe took and developed it. The first Rebbe was like the seed of Chassidut, and the second Rebbe, that was like the trees that grew up. He brought these little points into explanation. It says the first Rebbe was like a wellspring, and the second Rebbe of Chabad, that's who we're celebrating this month. The second Rebbe of Chabad, he was like a river that came out from a little wellspring. Va'aris pashas rachavos anar, like a wide river of understanding. But dugmas, like the river of understanding, which was drawn from a wellspring. Ela shabanar, but in the river, it gets wider and wider. Like we can see in the teachings of Chassidut, of the second Rebbe of Chabad, some were tremendously long. Details, they come in a tremendous revelation and long. They said there was one mimer that he said there was 13 hours long. In order to bring the inner seed or the wellspring of the first Rebbe of Chabad into big revelation and explain everything like a big river, like we said, the unity of a person and the unity of the intellect, Seichel Adam, the unity of our mind with the understanding God by means of learning Chassidut. This is, we have to first of all add something on to the main point of Chassidut. Tiyagam Havana, you have to understand Bina. You have to understand, because you have to understand the first point, but the first point is useless unless you bring it on to the details. What are the implications? That's what the second Rebbe did, in a way of wideness. We can also understand the unity of the spiritual with the physical, godliness and the world. That was made by means of Chassidut. That the completion of this was made by taking the points of Chassidut, of the first Rebbe of Chabad, the Chachma, and bringing it into all the details of Bina. Like it will be expressed in the physical life of the second Rebbe of Chabad. Like it's known what the third Rebbe of Chabad said about the second Rebbe. The second Rebbe was called the Mittler Rebbe, and when he was put into prison, so the conditions that he was put in, the charges were more severe than the first Rebbe, but the conditions that he was in was better, because the first Rebbe, he helped the Russian government against Napoleon. So he had a special certificate that he was a special citizen, him and all of his relatives. So he was like a special citizen, but nevertheless, he was still accused of doing these bad things against the government. It's not important what it was. So the government allowed him to have a group of Hasidim come in and say Chassidut. Why? Because it said the second Rebbe of Chabad, the third Rebbe of Chabad, he was the grandson of the first Rebbe. So the second Rebbe of Chabad, he was his uncle. He said, if you would cut my uncle's finger, the second Rebbe, his finger, it wouldn't come out blood, it would come out Chassidut. What does it mean? That his physical life depended on him saying Chassidut and the ideas of Chassidut. We can say that the reason for this is because this idea that the Rebbe, second Rebbe, was like a wide river of understanding. This is not just that he spread out, took the ideas of Chassidut, that of the Alter Rebbe, and just explained them, and he said elucidated them. But what they nimshachim mishor shabina, it came from a higher source than even from the first Rebbe of Chabad. And the ability of the second Rebbe of Chabad to take the ideas and to explain them in such tremendous width came from a deeper source than the ideas themselves. And therefore, Bakocho, he had the ability to join together spiritual and physical. Because he was above both of them. Even more, the revelation of this, the ability to spread things out, this comes from the Meitzer across a yod, from what the sentences says in Psalms, from a narrow place, God, you will answer me in a wide place. And it was to bring out the original idea was an amazing thing. But to take this original idea and to build it up more is something even greater. That's something even greater. It comes from even a higher source. So sometimes a person, let's say, that invents something, he has an invention. Some person invents the computer. He has an idea how to make computers, but he doesn't really know what to do with it, doesn't know what the implications are. He just knows that he can make, somebody else comes along and says, I know what to do with this, and he spreads the thing. The ability to take a little idea and to spread it out comes from a very high place. And that says is the first Rebbe of Chabad. He took the original sparks of ideas of the first Rebbe of Chabad, and he widened it out so that it became practical to everyone. That's why he's called the Mittler Rebbe. The middle Rebbe means he was just a middleman. He was a connector. He was a means. Emtsa'i, mitzayin, emtsa'i, that he was a second means, that he came between one thing and another thing. The second Rebbe of Chabad, his whole essence was not anything for himself. He was just a means, a emtsa'i. The Yoto B'Dregus Bina, that's the level of Bina. He joined the first Rebbe of Chabad, which was the ability to take pure hidden godliness and bring it into intellect, that it was even relevant to intellect, to take this little spark, the seed of godliness, and to bring it to a level that everyone could utilize it. That's the first Rebbe of Chabad. He's like the spark, the seed, and to bring it to the third Rebbe of Chabad, that's dat, that is practical for everybody, and to connect these two levels together, that it comes out to be three things. That's Chabad. So Chachma is the first Rebbe of Chabad. That's the first seed. Dat is the ability to bring it to all the people, to bring it out. And Beit, the Beit is Bina, the understanding, the plan of the whole thing, to make this into an organized plan. That's the second Rebbe of Chabad. That's the whole idea of what Chabad is. Chabad is only a means to an end. The means to bring godliness, pure godliness, into the whole entire world. Chabad is just the middle of it. Therefore, that's the embodied in the second Rebbe of Chabad. He's called the middle Rebbe. And we should look at ourselves that way also. We're not a thing in ourselves. We're just a means to bringing godliness and truth into the world. And that's accomplished by Chabad. That's accomplished by the second Rebbe of Chabad. And that's the whole idea of the third month, Kislev, as we're going to discuss tomorrow, Friday, God willing. I think we're going to even finish this tomorrow. We'll see. It's a little bit long, but okay. Good. Now let us do the Yom Yom.